Hi, my name is Kim. Basically just doing this just to get my story out there, let everyone know because me and my kids are going through a lot right now. No one will help us. So maybe this can prevent other people from going through the same thing if they will listen to the story. When I was 17 years old, I met a man from India. We began dating. I moved out of state with him. Not long after, I was young and careless, I got pregnant. He was about 5 years older than me, but he was very upset when he found I was pregnant. He wanted me to have an abortion. I told him no, I did not believe in abortions. So I didn't have an abortion. I ended up having the baby. He was very, very controlling, very abusive, verbally, physically, mentally, emotionally. He liked to party a lot. He liked to drink a lot. He liked to do drugs. He would not allow me to work anywhere except for at his store. I couldn't really have any friends. Couldn't really go anywhere and do anything. In order to go somewhere with him, I had to have makeup on. I couldn't go if I didn't wear makeup. I had to be dressed in something that he thought was suitable for me to go out with him, or else I couldn't go out with him anywhere. When I was 8 or 9 months pregnant, he left me on the side of the road in the middle of the night because they were having an Indian party, and he wanted me to wear an Indian dress. I was obviously really pregnant, wasn't able to fit into an Indian dress, so he left me at his friend's house for several hours by myself and went to the party. Came back, was obviously intoxicated. Ended up getting into an argument, so he just left me on the side of the road in the middle of the night. Whenever he saw that a car had stopped to give me a ride, he turned around and came back. He was here on a visa when I met him. His green card his visa expired shortly, either before or after we had the baby, I'm not sure, but as soon as it expired, he began pressuring me to marry him. And I told him no, that I wasn't ready to get married. I didn't want to get married. He would tell me things like, that immigration is going to come into our house in the middle of the night and take me and deport me back to India, and you're going to be here left alone with this baby with nobody to take care of you and the baby. I didn't have a degree then. My family was unable to help me. So it scared me. But I still I kept refusing to marry him. I was like, no, that's not a reason to get married. I'm not going to marry you for that. Well, then after several months of him trying to pressure me, it didn't work. He got his friends involved. They kept on and kept on and kept on, and they scared me. I was scared to death that, everything they told me was going to happen. So I did. I married him. At the courthouse. Didn't tell my family because I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to get married. I was forced into marrying this man, basically. So my family didn't find out till several years later when they ended up seeing pictures that we had taken for immigration purposes on that day. Whenever he met me, his credit was very bad. I obviously didn't have any credit. I was 17. So he helped me build my credit, and everything that we got had to have on my credit because his credit was so bad. So I think we were together like 7 years, so just long enough for all the bad stuff to go off of his credit. And now his credit is excellent and mine is horrible, because when I finally left last time, I had like a $30,000 car that he got in my name on my credit, repossessed because he wouldn't pay for it, along with a lot of other things. He ran up a phone bill in my name, just all kinds of stuff. Anyways, so we ended up getting married. He lost his store. We moved back to Georgia. Stayed here for a couple years. The abuse continued. He never wanted kids. He constantly wanted to send my son to India to a boarding school. I straight out refused. He became abusive with my son verbally, physically. He would slap him in the face. I have several people that saw it. You know, would leave a red handprint on the side of his face when he was like 2 years old. He would call him the A word. He would just call him all kinds of names. I did leave him several times. I had nowhere to go except to go stay with my family. My family was barely able to take care of themselves, so I felt like a burden to them, and would end up leaving and going back to him. He talked me into moving to New York, where his family was at, and once we moved there, it just got worse. The drinking got worse, the partying got worse, the abuse got worse. I ended up separating from him and getting a job, and he did not pay child support. When I ended up getting a restraining order on him because he got crazy one night, picked up a computer and tried to throw it like right where my son was standing at. Just completely tore the house apart. Every apartment or anything we lived in, it was on my credit. And I ended up getting put on my credit when we moved out because he had punched holes in the walls, kicked holes in the walls, so he just completely trashed all the apartments from the abuse. So when I got the restraining order on him, I left, got a job, got a small apartment for me and my son. Ended up going to court. He signed custody of my son over to me. He didn't pay child support. He didn't pay anything. So I was young. I had a son. I was working a full-time job, trying to go to school. I was very stressed out. Some things happened. He promised me that he was going to change. He would even move back to Georgia with me, with my family. So I went back to him, and we moved back to Georgia. His mother ended up coming from India. She was supposed to stay for 6 months, but cut her trip short because she was very, very nasty to my son, her grandson, who she had never even met before, who was, I think, 3 at the time. She didn't try to have anything to do with him, any interaction with him. She didn't really speak English, but she could have tried to play with him or something. Nothing, unless she was mad and yelling at him. One day I was in my bedroom and him and her went outside in the front yard. I heard her come inside. A few minutes later, I heard my son just knocking on the door, crying, hysterically yelling, "Mommy, Mommy." I go to the front door. The front door is locked. His mother left my 3-year-old son outside by himself by a busy road where he could have walked in the road and got hit. Somebody could have grabbed him, anything. Not only left him outside by himself, came inside, closed, and locked the door so that there was no way that he could get inside even if he wanted to. So, when my husband got home that night, I told him she had to go. He said he was going to talk to her. He went and talked to her and said, "Oh, she didn't mean anything by it. In India, everybody does that to kids. You can do that to kids in India." Really? You can lock a 3-year-old out of the house by herself in India by a busy road? But, she ended up leaving after that. He always says he wants to take the kids to India to see because his mother is sick, which he has been saying since I met him 11 years ago. So she's apparently been sick for a really long time. When I saw her, she was perfectly fine. But look at how she treated my child over here. You'd think that I want them in a country on the other side of the world with that woman without me there to protect them. No. But I ended up stupidly getting pregnant again. Had our second son, you know, and nothing changed. The abuse, the drinking, the drugs, everything kept going. So I left. Well, actually, he got his green card February of 2009. And as bad as things were, they got worse from there once he got his green card. Once he knew that he had, you know, what he had used me for. In May, just a few months later, he came home one day, packed a bag, told me that he had been with another woman, left for a few weeks. I didn't hear from him. I went and filed for a divorce. He came back after I filed for a divorce and said that it was all, he was just mad that it was a lie. Got into an argument. I tried to leave. He held me down. Don't really remember how, but I ended up getting out anyways. He got everything. He got all of our furniture, everything. I got our pictures, kids' clothes, my clothes, a few of the kids' toys. That was it. Everything else he got. I had a really hard time because I didn't have a degree. I didn't really have much experience working, so it was really hard for me to get a job. He refused to pay anything, pay child support or anything. I had to sell jewelry in order to buy diapers for the baby and stuff like that. Until I went to court and made him pay child support. Then he lied about the amount of money he made so that he would have to pay less child support. So when we first went to court for the divorce, him and his lawyer agreed to the divorce as soon as we left in front of the judge. As soon as we left, they said, oh no, we're not signing the papers. We're not giving you a divorce. So that was just a waste of money for my lawyer right there. It took me several years to save up money to try to file for a divorce again. I went to a lawyer a couple years ago, I believe, when I first went to her and told her the situation. She said, oh, no, you know, he's not going to be able to take the kids to India. I'm going to dig and find out how much money he makes and make sure he pays you the right child support. He's going to have to pay for that car and all that stuff that was on your credit. She told me everything I wanted to hear until I made that last payment to her. She quit answering my phone calls. She quit returning my phone calls. She quit answering my emails. She would answer email every once in a while. When it took me almost a year to get her to get me a court date. When she did, when we finally went to court, she was on his side. She told me that I was going to have to let my kids go to India with him, that he had the right to take them. That it was just a matter of what age they were going to go. She told me that he was going to get visitation no matter what. She went and made excuses for him in front of the judge. When his lawyer said something bad about me, she did not say anything in my defense. Basically, I was so shocked and so scared. I was in the courtroom all by myself. Even my lawyer wasn't on my side. I was just bawling. I was crying. I was so upset. You know, she didn't, after me and my husband first split up, he kept threatening to take the kids and take them to India. She didn't mention anything about that. She didn't mention anything about the abuse. She didn't mention anything about him not spending time with the kids. As a matter of fact, she made an excuse that he worked a lot, was why he went months and months without calling or talking to his kids or seeing them. That's not an excuse to pick up the phone. Not to pick up the phone. Whenever the kids did used to go to his house, my youngest son didn't want to go. He said he was mean to them. He still called them names, hit them. He would have women in and out of the house. He didn't have a bed for them there. They would sleep in the bed with him. So when the woman would come and stay the night, he would make the kids sleep on the floor. Not sure if I'm repeating some of the same things or not, but he got another woman pregnant a couple years ago, made her get an abortion. He denied my youngest son because he said that he was too white. He was a lot lighter skinned than the other one. So he said that wasn't his child for the longest time. He still, to this day, when I left him finally, I thought, me and my kids were going to get some relief. It was going to be over. But no, he still to this day controls me. We go months without hearing from him, and then all of a sudden he starts calling and threatening and, fighting and arguing. And it's been almost 2 years since the kids have gone with him anywhere. He's seen them maybe 2 or 3 times for like 20 minutes apiece or something at my house. He'll call and tell them all this stuff and get their hopes up and just, end up disappointing them, hurting them. They don't really even want anything to do with him anymore. He's a stranger. So the fact that they're telling me in court that, first of all, a non-U.S. citizen has more rights than me and my children as a U.S. citizen, telling me that a non-U.S. citizen has the right to force 2 U.S. citizens to go out of the country with him. It's crazy. Telling me that he basically, he lies on his taxes. He does drugs. He has illegal gambling machines. He does all this stuff and doesn't get caught, doesn't get in trouble for it. He thinks he's above the law. Everything always goes his way, even in court. I've been here for my children day in, day out since the second they were born, through everything. Sickness, school, homework, anything they need, teaching them to tie their shoes, ride a bike. I love my kids. My kids are my life. And for this man that has nothing to do with them, wants nothing to do with them except to hurt me, for my country to sit here and say, you have to let him take these kids out of this country, after he's told you he's going to take them and you're not going to see them anymore, after he has nothing to do with them. Now, why would someone that lives an hour away, that never sees their kids, never wants anything to do with their kids, want to take them to another country, except for to do what he said, to disappear with them, so that I don't see them anymore? I was so upset. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to turn. I just wanted help. My own lawyer that I had paid money for wouldn't help me. She turned her back on me, reported her to the bar. She ended up putting in a motion to withdraw because she was mad that I reported her to the bar. Well, she didn't do her job. She represented him. She didn't represent me. I wrote letters to senators, governors, mayors, everything. I got the same response, that they didn't get involved in civil matters. So, who elects you? The citizens of the United States. Yet, you don't care what happens to them. I understand that it's not anyone else's children, that they could care less. They don't know me. They could care less. But what if it was their children? What if it was their grandchildren? What if it was someone in their family? I have written letters to Dr. Phil, Ellen, anybody, just anybody. I wrote letters to the news channels, not because I wanted to, be in the media or get the media's attention. But when all else failed, I thought maybe if just one person, maybe if the right person hears this, maybe someone out there will help me. The news told me no, they couldn't do my story. The government told me no, they didn't get involved in civil matters. They couldn't help me. The lawyer didn't help me. I've now had 2 lawyers, money gone. I don't have money to hire another attorney, and I know there's going to be court coming up again. probably in front of the same judge. I just don't want to lose my children to this awful person. He's not a good person. He is awful. He used me to get a green card. He called me several years ago after we had been split up for several years, bribed me with a divorce if I would go on his citizenship interview with him. I told him no, I would not go with him. He begged me and begged me and begged me, so I said, okay, I will go with you, but I will not lie for you. If they ask if we're still together, then I'm going to say no. So he said, okay, that's fine, that's fine. Well, a few weeks later, he called me back and said, don't worry, because my lawyer said since you're not going to lie for me, and we don't have anything in our names anymore, then, both of our names anymore, then it's not going to do any good. So this man is here. He married a U.S. citizen in order to gain citizenship. The only reason. He, you know, lies on his taxes, defrauds the government. He does drugs. He has illegal gambling machines. He breaks the laws. He does all this stuff. He has children that he doesn't see. He doesn't take care of. He lies on how much he makes, so he just has to pay less child support. He's abusive. And yet he has more rights than I have as a law-abiding United States citizen. He has more rights than my two innocent children do, who are United States citizens. There is something seriously wrong with this country. And just to all the young women out there, I'm not saying that everyone is like this, because they're not. But just be very, very careful before you marry or have children with someone from another country. Because one day you could be in this situation. I never thought I'd be in a situation like this. And even though everyone is refusing to help me, I'm gonna do everything I can on my own. I'm gonna fight till my death if I have to keep my kids from leaving this country with that strange man that they don't even know. Just for him to be spiteful and mean and vindictive, and just for him to take them away from me is the only reason he wants to take them out of the country. So, just please, 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 just a tale of caution for everyone. Just be careful. Thank you.